It appears that WWE could be introducing a new championship belt, or a true championship belt. We're going to talk about that, WWE, Tessa Blanchard, and a member of the Elite leaving the group. It's all coming up right here on TAS. All right, guys, I want to kick things off with Tessa Blanchard. Obviously, we've been talking about her a lot these days, more than we have in recent years, but the reason for that is because apparently WWE wants to potentially work with Tessa Blanchard. Okay, so let me explain this. This is the way I read it. Dave Meltzer was talking about this, and basically he noted that there are people in WWE who want to work with Blanchard despite her track record of issues. Now, basically, long story short, WWE has this partnership with TNA, and WWE doesn't have to be the one to bring back Tessa Blanchard because they can see through the reaction of her going back to TNA, whether or not it's worth the risk for WWE. Now, what's really interesting is that WWE is in a very tricky situation here because they're bringing in Jordynne Grace. They're probably bringing in Josh Alexander. Realistically, WWE is butchering the TNA roster. And if I were TNA, I would kind of feel like that's just slightly unfair if WWE is trying to work with Tessa. Now, obviously, I don't know like the ins and outs of their relationship or whatever it may be, but what I do know is that the backlash for TNA with Tessa coming back was really mixed reviews. I mean, yes, you do see people who are like, okay, she's forgiven. It's in the past, whatever, but there's a lot of people who are still bothered by what she did. And WWE, to be honest with you guys, they are in no room to be taking on any sort of controversial members to their roster. They're still dealing with the backlash from the Vince McMahon stuff. So there's just a lot of stuff that can't be ignored in that situation. I understand the intelligence that WWE has, right? By watching what TNA is doing and what Tessa is doing in TNA. And then if WWE does have a desire to work with Tessa, instead of signing her, they could just utilize that partnership to do so. But at some point, if I'm TNA, I'm going to be asking, where are some of the bigger stars, right? That's the big thing, is where are some of the bigger stars? Because they could benefit from that, especially if WWE is going to be taking a lot of their talent and utilizing a lot of their talent. I think TNA has to benefit in some capacity. And I'm a huge fan of TNA, but right now it's a very big question mark surrounding their company, largely due to the fact that currently, as it stands, there's just a lot of departures. They're trying to do UBS Arena. There's just a lot that's currently in the mix for the company. And obviously I want them to do well, and I'm a big fan of the company, and I've been so blessed to have friends in that company. But right now there is a question mark, and I think that's completely okay to have a question mark. I feel like TNA always figures it out. But if they're going to do a partnership with WWE, and if talent want to work with Tessa, there's got to be a way for them to make this work where TNA also benefits. Let's turn our attention to Jack Perry. It looks like there is some very big problems between the Elite. Jack Perry was cutting a promo after the NJPW Strong Style show. Perry was interrupted by the Young Bucks. He voiced his frustration that he got tied to a bus. He was frustrated about losing his TNT championship, and he did the most logical thing in this promo, which is bringing up the fact that the Young Bucks were not there for him. They did not help him. The Bucks actually admitted that he was right and wanted to talk about things off camera before they mentioned their return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And the big thing here is I'm very excited about this particular split up. Let me be very clear. The Elite storyline just didn't work, and right now the big focus is clearly at the focus is the Death Rider storyline. It's very obvious the Young Bucks are off TV. The whole thing with the Elite and stuff, it's okay. Like, it didn't work out, but it's fine. Right now, it seems like they just planted a seed at the New Japan show that things are not all fine between them in the group. And I actually think Jack Perry, I'm not a big fan of his character. I'm not a big fan of it. I have talked about this before. I'm not a big fan of his character because I am largely more of a fan of the Jungle Boy character. I like the babyface character. I feel like the company needs a very strong babyface. Even though I don't like this character, I will not say he's bad at this character. I think Jack Perry, it took a little bit of time, but I feel like he's gotten very comfortable with the scapegoat thing, and it works out for him, right? So I think long term, have him break away from the Elite. that would be the right idea. I don't think they necessarily need to revisit this whole group. I think really the focus should be Okada and the Young Bucks really coming together. And then obviously when Kenny Omega's back for TV, he can go into a feud with Okada, because that's what AEW should be doing. That's a very, very big match. We've seen it before, but that's the type of thing that AEW should be doing right now. But I think for Jack Perry leaving the group, it makes a lot of sense. And I'm glad that they planted a seed here. The only thing that I really want AEW to do, which it would be really nice if AEW did this on Dynamite or Collision, it doesn't really matter, on TV, if they can show a clip of this interview on their TV show, because not everybody watches New Japan. Not everybody watched New Japan Strong Style Evolved. This would be one of those really good things that not only helps shout out New Japan and what they're doing, but you could also promote Wrestle Dynasty. And then you can also show that the seed was planted, that there is some issues within this group. I think that would be a really good thing for AEW to do. I'm intrigued by this, though. I think watching them split apart, even though the storyline wasn't successful, watching them split apart could actually become a really good, successful storyline that makes up for the wacky start of the formation of the group. And that brings us to Kevin Owens. He has revealed on social media that he is the true WWE champion. And there are tons of rumors, a lot of things being speculated right now. Currently, as it stands, Kevin Owens will be defending the Winged Eagle WWE Championship at events for WWE. So he already confirmed this. There's the holiday tour: New York, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Tampa, Orlando, Baltimore, Chicago, Miami, Houston, and the WWE is coming to Detroit, which is actually pretty cool. It's the holiday tour. Cody Rhodes is out with an injury. Kevin Owens is going to be the one that defends this belt. There's rumors that WWE is taking a page out of AEW's playbook, which is having a true WWE World Champion. Kind of like when AEW had the real AEW World Championship. I actually think it's a good idea. I thought it was really cool when AEW did it. I think it would be really cool for WWE to do it. And then what I would do is eventually have a new championship belt revealed for Cody, which I think, the belief is that at some point WWE might bring back the Winged Eagle belt, but in a modern form. So it would be slightly different. Whether there's any truth to that rumor, we'll obviously see. I don't expect WWE to do anything until that storyline is concluded, but for now, that storyline is still ongoing. So I do think there will be a new championship belt. I think Kevin Owens holding this one, Cody holding that one is really good for optics and for storytelling purposes. And again, I loved it when AEW did it. I think it could be a really cool storyline, but it would have to lead to Cody getting a Winged Eagle belt, which if I were WWE, you wouldn't want him holding two belts. What you would want to do is kind of have one that is formatted for both designs. So we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen, but that is the Ango Show.